Taken. He wanted a cure. He found the Creator.
Chapter 22. The Encounter. Enoch, rise. What? Enoch breathed heavily, brushing dirt and tears from his face as he rose to his knees. It is so quiet. Too quiet. The night creatures are never without sound. He grabbed his blade. Enoch, rise. Enoch peered into the dark woods past the father trees and braced himself. Bright light illuminated the forest. Enoch fell, dropping his dagger, dazed. The woods were lit up like sun's peak. Impossible. Enoch, the voice called again. Enoch shielded his eyes and stared at the blurry figure in the center of the light. The burning sensation returned, flowing through him like manta, purging everything in its path. Still, he could not look away. He was drawn to that light. Somehow it was lessening, or either he was becoming more. He could clearly make out the form of a man standing in front of him. The image was fuzzy, but definitely a man, reaching out to him. Enoch hesitated, turning his face as he grabbed the man's hand. His knees buckled. My lord! Enoch tried to regain his balance and bow, but instead he collapsed at the feet of the image. Son of Adam, be at peace. The light made him stand. Heat coursed through him once more, but this time it wove through him like wiry cords, strengthening his limbs. It traveled up and around his torso, through his neck, and finally burst through his head with a pop. Enoch tilted his everything. A cricket on the far side of the forest calling to its kind. Someone whispering at a childling too fussy for rest. The thunder of horses galloping wildly when some creature disturbed their watering hole. A woman crying. Two men speaking. And countless conversations blending, mixing, becoming one, and then distinctly separate again. Enoch touched his ears, shook his head, and looked at the one, puzzled. How? For now you hear as I hear. Understand, for it will not always be so. Enoch furrowed his brows as if the motion could make him understand this newness. The beloved laughed. Enoch, relax. I did not mean you would have to understand it alone. Come, I will show you. Ah! Enoch screamed, clutching the hand for dear life as his other limbs wavered uncontrollably. They were hovering, or was it flying? Maybe they were standing in nothingness. Where are we? We are here. Where is here? Here is where I am. I mean, what is this place? This place is where we were. My lord, I do not understand. We were in Avonland Forest. Now we are nowhere. The beloved touched the man. Enoch stumbled backward as images swirled around him. It was everything. The vista of the seven hills, his tent in the city of Seth, Tafara with her bow drawn. Even the 12 pillars of El Tava came into view. The moon drew nigh, so close he could touch it, followed by twirling balls of light speeding through blackness. Streams of vapor in blues, purples, pinks, and colors he could not name illuminated the darkness and clustered together. The soft white waves of the Adama sky brushed his skin, leaving it damp. Solid crystal towers appeared before him with throngs of glorious ones walking among their spiraling stairs. A clear lake flowed through the center, leading to a magnificent structure. Enoch leaned forward to peer through its doors. He reached out to grab the handle, but it faded at his touch. Instead, coarse bark grazed his face. He stood dumbfounded before a towering father tree. Enoch swung around. They were back in Avonland Forest. My lord, Enoch said with his mouth gaping. What happened? Where did we go? Son of Adam, the image said gently, we did not go anywhere. We are where we have always been. But, understand, at first you heard as I hear, and for a moment you saw as I see. My lord, but there was nothing, then everything. Yes. But where did it all come from? It has always been in me. In you? Yes. How can everything that is? So even though I'm right here with you, standing in Avonland Forest, I mean, everything here is in you? Yes. Why did you tell me to meet you in Avonland Forest? You could have just come to me again. Good, Enoch, you are reasoning, and you are correct. I could have just come to you again as you liked, although that is not really how it happens. But I did not because it would have been disruptive to your sequence. My sequence? What? The beloved laughed and touched the crinkled skin in between Enoch's brows. Of course it is difficult for you to understand sequence because you are in it. Enoch's shoulders sagged. The beloved smiled again. Do not worry, Enoch. I will increase your understanding, for you will need it in the days to come. Aha, Enoch said triumphantly. You said come. You said that is not what you do. True, let me explain. All the people of Adama live in sequence, an arrangement of rhythm and order. You are born into sequence, rhythm, and order. You are born into sequence and bound by it. Your sequence cannot be altered without consequences. I do not live in sequence, although I created it. Where do you live? I am the where. Enoch smacked his head and began pacing again. The beloved laughed even more. Think of it this way. You can experience most fully at the outer realm beyond all sequence, where it is always now. Which brings me to your question about coming. I am also the now. Everything exists in me and the now, even though you do not perceive it that way. So for you, days are coming, but for me, all the days that already been and still are. Enoch stopped pacing abruptly and faced the beloved, wide-eyed. But you said you do not interfere in our sequence. If that is true, why did you come to me? I made you aware of my presence because you called me. That is what I do. I am always here at every point, not only in your sequences of every man living now and in your future. You sought me. If a man seeks me, I will increase his perception so he becomes aware of my presence. When you say I came to you, I was already with you, and you are already in me. Enoch thought about this for a moment, opened his mouth as if to speak, then shut it tightly. Do not fear, you may speak freely. I was thinking, was that how it was with Father Adam before he sinned? Exactly. Adam lived in continual awareness of me. Enoch began pacing back and forth again. At the ceremony of the bearer, when heaven's fire came down and consumed the sacrifice, that was you answering? No, Enoch, that was you. Enoch stepped back in disbelief. But I am not the... Of course not, the beloved said, laughing again. I allowed you to access my power. Why? You sought me, remember, before the ceremony? The heat, the burning, that was you coming, making me aware. Not only that, but also giving you power. Why would you give me power? Enoch, I have often been with you and shared my power. Why do you think you are able to run so fast, track so well, still speak with the animals? That is you? I thought it was the one mind, and the elders call it. Not it, he, the beloved said, shaking his head. Most of the elders lost their ability to speak to us long ago. All they remember is the power, the sensation, but not us. Why can I hear you, speak to you, and not the others? Why am I different? Enoch, you listen. You expect something to happen, even though you are not always aware of my presence. Your expectation creates a gate, a bridge that increases your ability to receive my presence. But I thought you increased my ability to perceive. Right, but I will not force myself on anyone. You must give me access to yourself first. Then I will do the same. When that happens, when we agree, when we commune, you begin to understand me. As your understanding increases, your capacity to use the abilities I originally gave Adam are increased. Enoch stopped pacing and stared at the beloved. He started to speak, frowned, and started pacing again. Ceremony of the bearer, when the fire came down. That was me. In a sense, you called out to me and I responded. I agreed with you. Enoch stopped again. Remember what I told you to do that eve? Watch, listen, speak. When you said, if I am speaking the truth, may the Ancient One consume. I heard you and you accessed my presence and my power. Then when you spoke, you received the fruit of your words, just as I do when I speak. Are you telling me heaven's fire came down just because I told it to? Yes. That doesn't make reason. It makes perfect reason if your understanding is open. A moment ago in your sequence, you saw everything and nothing at the same time. How was that possible? Enoch was silent for a while. I do not know. It is possible because everything you see is created from what you cannot see. It is called around, looking wildly. Where is faith now? Faith cannot be seen, but it is always present. What makes it seen? How can I make it become something I can see? You tell me. How did you make heaven's fire come down? I obeyed, I watched, I listened, and I spoke. Yes, but what did you speak and spoke? That's the key. I said what was supposed to happen all along, and I remember imagining it happening in my mind. That is, I really was wishing it would happen. You spoke according to the sequence already established. You knew I always answer by fire and consume an acceptable sacrifice. You really believed it would happen. Then you spoke according to the will of the Ancient One, and I agreed with the words you said. If you agree with me, then you do not agree with Tubal-Cain and those sons of the Most. Are they really who they say they are? They speak the truth. Samjaza and the others are my sons. They are Elohim's sons. They are Elohim. But they claim to be the seed that will fulfill the prophecy. Is that true? No. Their desire to do so comes from their will, not mine. Their confusion has disturbed the sequence. The sequence I do not understand. This is why I have brought you here and increased your understanding. Now it is complete. Sequence has balance. Go home. The beloved turned to leave. Wait! Enoch shouted, reaching toward him. Balance? What do you mean? What am I supposed to do? I came here to gain wisdom. What should we do about the Elohim? Should we keep using the Alru? The beloved faced Enoch. His eyes were somber, but his smile kind. Remember, see as I see, hear as I hear, and speak as I speak. But what about? He was gone. Too late for more questions now. The beloved said, go home. That settles it. Enoch plopped down by the fire to pack his things. Why am I such a lighthead? I should have asked him about this. Enoch waved his arms, displacing the shadows. The aura was back, even stronger than before, lighting up the forest around him. And so was the burning. Will you send him alone then? You know the fallen abound. Indeed. Michael's seat exploded with light as he took his place beside the beloved. He will be attacked. Should we prevent this thing from the man, Enoch? No, let us see if the man can fully access the gate even in his veiled state. And if he cannot, what then, my lord? All is well, General. I am confident he will choose the proper sequence. What of Meadowlark? Shall we delay? Ah, you accessed my gift then. You saw the possibilities. I did, my lord. What say you then? I believe his tendency is strong. It is strong. Since duality is present, we wait. Yes, my lord. And the others? Their outcome is sure. Breeze. Let the sequence run its course. Chapter 23. The Attack. Enoch tread quietly through the damp woods, careful not to disturb it. The fine mist of Adama, now waist-high, clung to his skin, chilling him. At least I don't have to worry about the darkness. Enoch stifled light. Most of the skittering forest creatures took their rest by late moon, but more and more of the four-legged climbers and winged swoopers were succumbing to the bloodlust, which made them roam in the dark. Cannot have them seeking me out for truth. Not all reverence the image as they should. Enoch cinched his robe in tighter and pulled the hood over his head as well. A lone cry cut through the stillness. Enoch stopped. The wolves are restless. Surely the beloved knew this place would be unwise. Enoch cocked his head to the side. Their soft, pattering gait came closer, stronger. Without a sound, he then hunkered down next to a father tree, wrapping his rope around the trunk. He climbed. I could speak to them, reason, but with the dark so deep and their rebellion rising, I would rather avoid bloodshed. No, I'll hide in the treetops until... The burning sensation returned. He rubbed his belly, trying to massage it away as he rose high above the forest floor. Ah, that smell again. What beast would have a scent so harsh? He covered his nose and kept scaling the enormous trunk. Enoch swung around sharply. Who's there? I said, who's there? Enoch yanked his sharp blade from his waist pack and held it high. The silver metal glimmered in the moonlight. And who are you to question us? Enoch jerked back as something cold and coarse slapped his face. He winced at the sharp pain brimming from his hand. His dagger fell with a thud. Oh, look at the monkey. Aw, did the monkey hurt his hand? Enoch flailed wildly as something pushed him away from the tree. The rope around his waist tightened, pinching his flesh raw as he dangled precariously from the thick trunk. He kicked his feet up just in time to stop himself from slamming into the tree, face first. Enoch grabbed the knot at his side, frantically trying to free himself. Praise the light, if I can just get down, I can make a run for it. Not so fast, monkey. What's that you got under that cloak? Something shiny, eh, monkey? Give to us. It grabbed Enoch and pushed him so hard he swung out, then crashed back into the tree trunk. Enoch arched as the rough bark sliced into his back. The force jarred him, leaving him dazed. Enoch tried to move. Hidden Father, help! Something very strong was holding both his arms and legs in place, while something else ripped the hood off his head. Oh no! No, no, no! Instantly, Enoch was free. He stared in amazement. In front of him was immense darkness. He could see absolutely nothing, but when he waved his arms, still radiating light from the image, forest appeared normal in the soft moonlight. Quickly, Enoch scaled down from the tree and untied the knot, waving his arms wildly in front of him as he stepped forward. Somehow it beat the darkness back. What kind of monkey is this that bears the light? Kill it, it said. Yes, kill it, kill it, kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it. Many voices chanted. Enoch moved slowly toward the voices, waving his arms in front of him and searching for a break in the darkness. I wish I was home. Praise the light if I could just get home. Hey, what's that, monkey? You want to go home? There's no home for monkeys here. We hate monkeys. Yes, the voices chanted, louder this time, pushing and shoving at him, slapping him wherever they could. We hate monkeys. Kill it, kill it, kill it. Yes, put the hood over its ugly head and kill it, kill it, kill it. One of them punched Enoch in the face. The burning in his stomach was unbearable. It was like fire. Stomach was unbearable. It was like fire now. Enoch wailed, leave me alone. You have no rights here, monkey. This is our realm. No. Enoch tried to swing and kick, but strong arms restrained him and lifted him high into the air. Something covered his face with the hood and tied it shut. No, let me go. I want to go. You must let me go. Stop crying, monkey. You'll go home soon. It laughed again. We'll send you right back to the dust where you belong, but not before we have a little fun first. No, stop this. No, stop this. Enoch struggled and gagged within the putrid darkness binding him. He could see nothing. The burning surged. Enoch's mind reeled, tingling and throbbing. I must speak. He opened his mouth. No sound came out. He was afraid. He tried again. This time it was just a faint whisper. Help me. The tormentors tossed him like a sack. He said it again a little louder. Help me, Father. Shut up, you stupid monkey. Enoch noticed their grip loosened a little. The Ancient One is against you. Leave me alone. Stop it, monkey, or you'll be sorry. Enoch heard a thud underneath him as something dropped to the ground, releasing his right arm. That's it. Watch, listen, speak. Enoch tried again. This time it was as if the fire spoke through him. By the power of the Ancient One, I will go home. Kill it now! The lesser stood stunned and empty-handed. Nabat, who had been in charge, cringed at the sound of heavy footsteps treading toward him. Oh, my lord, we were just bringing you the human, but he just disappeared. I saw, you stupid oaf. Had you been more attentive to your mission instead of playing foolish games, this never would have happened. But, my lord, how were we to know? Shut up before I cut your stupid tongue out. Tamuro lashed the lesser with a flick of his whip. Stop groveling and make haste. You've got some explaining to do. How's the remedy, Yemezarek? His captain didn't bother to walk to the prep room and ask. Instead, he yelled from the great room. Why are you speaking when you can signal? Yemezarek focused his thoughts towards Samjaza and waited a while. Finally, Yemezarek sighed and Waza and Lamech were haggling again. A few moments longer and the batch will be ready, Captain. Good, Samjaza said. We mustn't keep Nema's beautiful lady in waiting. Waiting, shall we? Samjaza laughed at his own joke, eyeing the girl lustily. You should focus on your own and leave these Sabassi alone, Lamech said, huffing in his craggy way. You already have the cream of the crop. Nema was a DWD, was she not? Be at ease, Lamech, Samjaza said. I am a man of my word, but can a man put out his own eyes? Lamech stared at the girl, appreciating her figure. I see your point. The girl recoiled further into the corner. Lamech slapped the table and threw his head back, roaring with laughter. Maybe we can work out another deal. Another Sabasi, Yemezarek thought. She was the 5th this morning. Come, Yemezarek said to the girl. I can work faster with your help. She followed him so eagerly she stepped on the back of his heel. Wait there. He pointed to a small bench. He is easily distracted. The trembling girl knelt nearby, waiting for him to finish. Yemezarek could tell she desperately wanted him to hurry, but knew she would so. He didn't blame her, not with Samjaza around. Yemezarek tapped the wooden spoon against the rim of the gurgling mixture, shaking off the excess, and inhaled. Perfect. He put the Sabasi out of her misery with a quick nod. The girl grabbed the tray and dashed back to the daughters of Eve in waiting. Yemezarek kept stirring and eating. The first of the divine will bring forth any day now, Lamech was saying. Nema and the youngling will need accommodations worthy of her status. Nothing but the best for Nema, Samjaza said. Our child shall not live in a tent like a common son of dust, but we will need more. Said and done. Samjaza had manipulated the elder into assigning men to complete stone structures for all the divine, with the Elohim supervising the work, of course. Yes, Father Lamech, he heard Samjaza say. We will teach the nature of metalworking, but I will need more Sabasi to care for our needs. These divine are in a delicate way now and cannot be bothered with burdensome tasks. All Samjaza's promises came with a price, labor. When Lamech did object, Samjaza merely gave him some trinket fashioned by Hazazel or released just enough knowledge to keep him compliant. Well, the old man did have a little fight in him. If only Tubal Khan could watch the Elohim working with metal, that would satisfy me, a show of good faith. A deal it is, Samjaza agreed. Yemezarek shook his head. Samjaza didn't think these sons of Adam were intelligent. He was wrong. Yemezarek overheard Tubal Khan whispering to a group of men that he'd been able to duplicate Hazazel's work on his own. They were already forging weapons. Yemezarek tidied the room, putting away the samples he collected over the past 7 cycles into containers, the seed of julep, wax from a father tree, and there was still tucked inside. Yemezarek hoped his flimsy excuse would do. Samjaza, the divine desperately need healing herbs from the 7 hills. I will gather them and return. Samjaza waved him away, completely unconcerned. Yemezarek left Hills at first light, glad Samjaza's ability to discern intentions had diminished. How low he has become. Have all the brothers fallen? He considered his captain's predicament and his own. I will seek the man Enoch. I know he has access to the beloved. Yemezarek traveled by day, clad in a garment like the sons of Seth to lessen the effect of his aura, blending in with the humans as much as possible. The elders may remember my face, he worried. I'll ask to see a Medici instead. Yemezarek tugged on the sack of roots. Surely a Medici would want this parcel. It would take them at least 3 moons to gather as much. Yemezarek trekked until the grasslands changed to gentle slopes full of sheep grazing. Stragglers from the flock headed to the heights of the 7 hills, where dwellings emerged from the rocky cliffs. A young boy chased after them, shooing them along with his staff. Young one, Yemezarek him. The boy, busy prodding a lamb, did not respond. "Young man," Yemezarek said, much louder this time. The boy jumped. "Many pardons, master." The boy scooped the lamb into his arms. "May the ancient be—" The boy noticed his stature and bowed low. "Yes, my lord." "None of that," Yemezarek said. "It is not permitted." Seeing the kindly face peering from the hood, the boy stood straight as an arrow. "Yes, sir." "Please tell me where I can find a Medici. I have gifts from the tribe of Cain." "I don't know. I mean, I could find one, but I can't leave my—" "And who might I ask be seeking a Medici of the sons of Seth?" A lilting voice called behind him. Something sharp pricked the back of Yemezrek's neck. He started to turn around, but was poked again. "Not so fast, Elohim, or is it Watcher you prefer?" Yemezrek raised his arms in surrender. "The name's Yemezrek. Indeed, I am a watcher, but that's neither here nor there. I have a satchel full of Adama's most potent herbs for your Medici, a gift from the tribe of Cain, and a request. There be none of the tribe of Cain that would give a gift to us, Watcher, especially after what happened to Zohar. What do you really want? And don't—" Tafara poked Yemezrek again with the tip of her arrow. "Turn around slowly so I can see your face, Watcher. And you," she said, jerking her head toward the youth, "run along and don't be sticking your nose where it don't belong. The Watcher wanted to see a Medici, and he's got one, so off with you now." "Yes, Medici Tafara." The boy squeezed the lamb against his chest and scurried up the hill. Yemezrek turned around slowly to face the woman, stunned, when he saw the dainty figure aiming the arrow and the larger, more robust one rocking with laughter behind her. "Onami?" Yemezrek said. "I said the name's Tafara. There be no one—" The woman squinted and poked him again with her arrow, this time on his forehead, although she had to stand tiptoed with arms fully extended to do so. "Do not be deceived, Watcher. I am not afraid to use this. State your business and make it quick." "Yeah," Onami said, still laughing. "Make it quick, Yemezrek. Make it quick, Yemezrek." Yemezrek ignored Onami and focused on the woman. "Indeed, Medici Tafara, it is obvious a daughter of Eve, such as yourself, has the wisdom of the Ancient One flowing through her. I would not dare deceive you, except I have such important news from the tribe of Cain. The utmost discretion was necessary, and unfortunately—" Yemezrek paused as he nodded his head toward the satchel at his feet. "My small guys—" "Open it," Tafara said, "and no funny business or it'll be the last of you." "By all means, do open the bag, Yemezrek. I can't wait to see what's in it," Onami said, stooping next to him. "Dump it out," Tafara ordered, keeping the bow toward Yemezrek's head. Yemezrek did as the woman requested, although he could have easily disabled her and the weapon. Onami was peering through the contents of the satchel with a smirk on his face. "Yemezrek, really? Is this all you could come up with?" Yemezrek, "And don't be rolling your eyes at me, Yemezrek." Onami grinned, mimicking the woman perfectly, "or it'll be the last of you." "What are you doing here?" Yemezrek focused his thoughts toward Onami. "I have been assigned to watch here. Why are you here?" Onami said. "Well, these plants would aid us. At least in that you have spoken the truth," Tafara said, lowering her bow. "Now, what's this you speak of regarding our kin? You say there be news from the City of Nod?" "Medici Tafara, I have most urgent news and a request for the one called Enoch. I must speak with him." "So that's what this is about. You want to see the bearer. I thought you, Elohim, had all the answers for all that ails us, and now you be seeking Enoch? If this be some sort of trickery, I'll not only run this bow through you, but I'll slice your neck as well." Onami rose, surprised at the boldness of the girl, and held a finger to his lips to silence Yemezrek. Onami leaned down and bring him to the elders and let them decide. "Not to worry, Elohim Yemezrek," Tafara said, throwing her bow over her back. "If you be up to mischief, the elders will decide. Follow me." "Thank you," Yemezrek said, focusing on Onami. "My pleasure. Now, why are you here? What's all this business about the utmost discretion?" "Why are you here? I thought you were assigned to watch from Mount Arata." "I have orders from the Beloved himself to be at the City of Seth." "Do you now? So you're getting orders directly from the image these days, are you? Does Captain Simjaza know of this?" It's not my business what Captain Samjaza knows. Gives a command, I do it. You'll wait here, Watcher. Tafara ushered him into an enclave nestled inside the hill. Yemezrek had to stoop to enter, but once inside he had no problem moving freely. He smiled instantly, recognizing the architecture of the circular room with its high dome-shaped ceiling. 12 squares on the floor around a fire pit filled with steaming pebbles in the center. The walls and floors, plastered and smooth, were full of images telling a story. Yemezrek swirled around to see the genesis. Why, this is like a miniature of the ancients' high council. Who showed them the pattern, or do they instinctively? At ease, Watcher. At ease, Watcher. Tafara dropped the sack to the ground. The elders are being summoned as we speak. No one will harm you before the council has ruled. It is not our way. Tafara stood in the doorway with her hands on her hips as she watched Yemezrek examine the space. Well, yes, Medici Tafara, Yemezrek said. Does it meet your requirements? The room is quite suitable. So glad we could be of service, Tafara said too sweetly as she turned to leave. A Sabasi will come around with food and drink. She tossed him a small bell. If you require anything, just ring this. Many thanks. The girl strode out the room before Anami pressed against the side of the entrance to avoid her. He smiled and plopped down next to Yemezrek, rubbing his palms together over the steaming pile. Isn't this cozy? I thought you were assigned to watch her. Tafara will be fine, Anami grinned. I just tag along to make sure she doesn't harm anyone. She is a most unusual daughter of I agree, Anami faced Yemezrek, and I have such a sporting time with her. Really? Indeed, just this sun's peak we've been roaming the hills on a quest for the unicorns, and we did spend some time practicing archery. She's quite good, you know. She is. I've been coaching her a bit. She takes instruction well. Really? Really? Yemezrek raised his brows. Medici Tafara doesn't strike me as the type to take anyone's advice. She doesn't know I'm instructing her. I just give a little nudge here and there. So she hasn't seen you? Of course not. Anami shook his head. I've been very careful. Yemezrek leaned back and examined the lieutenant closely. This one woman is your assignment? Not exactly. I mean, I am assigned to observe the city of Seth. Yet you have been focusing most of your efforts on one human. I also spend quite a bit of time guarding Enoch, but the girl Tafara has this way of getting to the bottom of things, so I trail. I see. Yemezrek leaned forward. What has she shown you? For instance, I'm pretty sure I already know what your big news is from the city of Nod. Well, don't keep me in suspense. Do tell. Anami's aura flicked from pearl to blue. We already know Captain Samjaza has crossed the line. I followed Medici Tafara when she snuck into their camp and saw it with my own eyes. Who is we? We just don't know who else is involved yet, so Yemezrek, tell me, what's your purpose here? Are you one of them? Yemezrek slumped against the wall. I am not one of them. At least I don't think so. I just know something is wrong. Yemezrek stood to face Anami. Something has happened to Samjaza and the others, and Yemezrek avoided the lieutenant's gaze. What is it? I can't change. What do you mean you can't change? I mean, I can't change back. I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this suit of flesh. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I've tried many times. Although the light from the image still resides upon me, I can't shed this flesh. That's why I must see Enoch. You said you record his movements. Where is he? I must. You think Enoch can help you change back? Of course not, but if the beloved is speaking with him, he might know something. Like what? To transform? The beloved wouldn't do that, but maybe he knows if a judgment has come. He is their bearer. The beloved does visit Enoch. I have seen it twice myself, but I don't know what the image tells him. Anami plopped down, trying not to fidget. Yemezrek, sit down. You know something. Tell me. I probably shouldn't, but since you are here, when I saw what Captain Samjaza was doing, I returned to Heaven's Realm and met with General Michael. And the council knows everything, but the beloved has not ruled yet. Yemezrek wrung his hands. Well, there is some hope. At least they are. Some hope. At least they are. They are recording. You mean you are recording, Yemezrek said. Yes. How many others? Not sure of everyone assigned, but I do know that Delmar, Azam, and I are. Yemezrek did a double take, startled by the waving of the room. Delmar and Azam appeared on the stone square of Yemezrek, Delmar said, we've been here the whole time. No, I would have seen you, Yemezrek said. It's true, Anami said. They were here when Medici Tafara brought you into the chamber. That's impossible. Why didn't you say anything? We needed to see. You mean you needed to record. We needed to know if you're new. Some Jaza and many of his officers are already affected. Why could I see Anami but not you two? Yemezrek said. Good question. Delmar waited for Captain Azam to answer. I'm not sure why Anami was visible to you, but not to me or Lieutenant Delmar. Azam crossed the room and sat next to you. That must mean something. We are left without understanding then? Chapter 24. Transported. Everything wavered. The trees, the moon, the taunting darkness. His flesh, his arms back and forth, beating back the night with his light and words. By the power of the Ancient One, I will go home. Enoch stumbled and righted himself, looking around the room dazed. I must be going mad. You again. Anami took a step back just as Enoch appeared before them. Interesting, Delmar said, raising his eyebrows. Indeed, Yemezrek agreed. Enoch, son of Adam, would you mind telling us, how did you get here? Anami cut in, marveling at Enoch's glowing form. I don't know. One moment I was in Avonlea Forest and these things, I could not see them, were beating me, attacking me, and then... You just transported, Azam said. Why is this happening? Enoch shut his eyes, took a deep breath, and opened them again. You're still here. You just keep showing up. You're everywhere, in the fire, in my dreams. Enoch walked slowly toward Yemezrek, but not you. You were with Tubal Khan. Medici Tafara walked through the door. Her scowl turned into a broad grin. Enoch, when did you get back? The scouts have been watching for your return. Did you sneak around the Seti gate? I came in quietly, Enoch coughed, trying to collect himself, through another entrance. Why are these men waiting at the seat of council? What men? Tafara gestured toward Yemezrek. There's just this watcher Yemezrek. Are you well? Tafara moved closer to Enoch, examining the cuts and bruises on his limbs. Did you hit your head? Is that it? Enoch surveyed the room again. I'm fine. Enoch, she cannot see us. She is only aware of Yemezrek, Azam said calmly. Did you hear that? Enoch rubbed his ears and shook his head. Hear what? Tafara said. Poor thing. You did hit your head. These look bad. It's a good thing Yemezrek brought these herbs. There's even a bandit staring at Anami who lifted a finger to his lips and placed a large pot right behind Tafara. Oh, good, she said, turning around. Everything I need is already here. While we're waiting for the elders, I might as well patch you up like a good Medici. Tafara pressed the paste she'd just made into his wounds and dropped one of the auru leaves into a bowl of steaming water. The elders are coming, Enoch said. They will be arriving any moment now. Of course, no ruling would have been made without you, but they agreed to give him an audience. Yemezrek pulled an auru leaf from the inseam of his hood, picked up the steaming bowl, and plopped to the brew. Enoch, son of Seth, the news I bear is for you alone. I will not answer questions from the... Is that right now, Watcher? Tafara snatched the bowl and passed it to Enoch. You are in no position to be saying what you will and will not do. Tafara, please. Enoch touched her shoulder. I intend to hear him out, privately. Tell the elders I will call for the council soon. Fine. Tafara threw the heavy spoon into the pot and hoisted it onto her hip. Will there be anything else for the bearer? No, that's all. Just so you know, Tafara gave Yemezrek the evil eye on her way out. I'll be watching you. Enoch devoured the bowl of steaming broth, breathing in the aroma as he ate and walked. He glanced out the peephole. 2 scouts stood at the top of the stairs with their backs to Enoch. Tafara was already alerting them. Enoch set his dish down. All right, what do you want? I need you to speak to the beloved on my behalf. Why don't you speak to him yourself? You are Elohim, are you not? Enoch said, smirking. Yemezrek shuffled on the hard stone and turned his head away, but not before Enoch caught the pained expression on his face. I am not sure what I am anymore, Yemezrek said. to petition the beloved for me. Ask him if I may hope. Ask him if I can still be what I once was." Enoch frowned. "I don't understand. What are you now? What happened?" "I am losing the way of the Elohim, and though it is not entirely absent yet, my perception has changed and my nature diminished. Many watchers are altered. Captain Samjaza is deeply affected, so much so he doesn't notice or care." "For truth, you know the cause of this," Enoch said. "Indeed. We, that is, some of us have broken the code and done that which was restricted. I know it is judgment. I was just hoping perhaps there is still a possibility for return." "You mean you want to repent of the wrong?" "Yes, my error is grievous." Yemezrek bowed his head. Could this Eve get any stranger? Can a man intercede for an Elohim? Enoch prayed silently as he waited for the one mind to guide him. When he heard no clear voice, nor felt the familiar burn, he sighed. "Very well. I will beseech the beloved on your behalf, for your presence is troublesome here." "Thank you. May the Ancient One—" "Do not thank me. I make no promises. But I do know when my Father eventually responds. Fair enough?" "Fair indeed," Yemezrek said with a grateful nod. "If you were a son of Adam, I would ask you to bring a sacrifice, but since you are not, mere blood would not be an acceptable sacrifice for an Elohim. Our life is not in the blood," Yemezrek said. "But perhaps there is something I could do to the beloved. I could try to right the wrong, to help the others who may not be too far gone, and—" "I think that is the least you could do," Enoch said. "But Yemezrek," Anami interrupted, "some things cannot be undone." "Truth." Yemezrek dropped his head again. "Although I had no part in it, I did stop it. The numbers of the divine are growing, and the first of them will be bringing forth soon." "What are you talking about? Who are the divine?" Enoch said. "Samjaza has started calling the daughters of Eve who have married Elohim divine. The one called Nema is due to have her child any day now." "Nema married an Elohim? Nema married an Elohim?" Enoch stood abruptly, overturning the bowl next to him. The hot brew splashed against his leg, scalding him. "They actually went through with it? She conceived? Are you sure it was Nema?" "Positive," Yemezrek said. "Her father Lamech was anxious to make the match. He even allowed the communion to take place before the ceremony of union." "I didn't think it was possible." Enoch grabbed a cloth and patted the spot on his calf, trying to hide a shock. "As far as anyone can tell, it is. But who knows what this childling will be?" Yemezrek pulled another alru leaf from the inseam of his hood and handed it to Enoch. This one is not his age and will speed your healing." "But Nema was promised to Lita," Enoch said. "Lita is dead." Azam shook his head. "Father Lamech killed him." "Lamech must be punished." Enoch dropped his cloth. "No one resists Lamech," Yemezrek said, "or Samjaza." "But Nema," Enoch said, pacing, Is she well? How could Father Lamech do that to her? We must help her at once." "Enoch," Yemezrek said gently, "I do not think Nema wants to be rescued." "What do you mean?" "Nema is altered," Yemezrek said. "I believe it is too late for her, but it may not be too late for all." "What do you mean, altered?" "I didn't want to mention it until I was sure, but I am almost positive." "Is it the fallen?" Azam said. "How did you know?" Yemezrek said. "We saw it too," Azam said. "So I'm right then." "Stop. One of you better start explaining or—" Enoch said. "The fallen have infiltrated you humans somehow," Azam said curtly, cutting him off. His expression softened at Enoch's panic-stricken face. "They are hiding among you, or more accurately, within." "We can't sit here doing nothing. Who else is affected?" Anami's voice grew louder by the moment. "We must act quickly before—" Calm down," Azam said. "As much as we want to help, we will not proceed without orders. Is that understood?" "But," Anami said, "is that understood?" Azam's tone was stern. "Yes, Captain." "Enoch," Azam said, "may act as he pleases, for this is his realm. He will not overstep our bounds. The code tells us clearly." Anami shuffled restlessly on the stone seat as he listened to yet another one of Azam's lectures. Finally, unable to restrain himself, he interrupted. "Captain Azam," Anami said, "forgive my presumption, but—" "Yes?" I was wondering if I might have your permission to check on Tafara, confirm her whereabouts. Why is that necessary, Lieutenant? I feel it would be prudent. She has gone to the city of Nod before without a scout or even an escort. She is unpredictable and... Very well, Anami. Confirm her whereabouts and report back immediately. Immediately. Thank you, Captain. Anami saluted and turned to leave. Anami, Yumezrek called. Yes? Be careful, Yumezrek said. Of course, Benai, I always am, Anami said. Azam sighed and leaned back against the wall. Yumezrek, there is one thing I'm curious about. What's that, Captain, and not Samjaza? I didn't realize he was deceived. We were following orders as usual. Samjaza is our leader. I didn't consider that his judgment was flawed until... Yumezrek said. What's this? Azam patted the bulky sides of Yumezrek's hood. Just a bit of Alru. I always keep some on me. The fragrance reminds me of the beloved. It is quite like his aroma. Very useful for treating what ails the humans. Azam crushed the Alru, releasing more of its essence. Yumezrek, I believe this little leaf is what protected us from the full onslaught of the fallen. Their stench somehow twists your judgment. I experienced it once myself long ago, before the conflict. I heard the tales regaled. Yumezrek leaned forward. Is it true you were the only one to escape the great uprising? It's true. I was about to give in. I couldn't hold out any longer when Samjaza came to my aid. He realized I was in jeopardy and followed me, watched over me. Captain Samjaza was the one who pulled me to safety. Azam ran his hands over the weapons concealed under his cloak, checking their placement again. I always wondered, why me? Why was I allowed a chance to escape and none of the others? That point seemed ordinary. There was no sense of danger until... They sat in silence for a few moments. Yumezrek had hoped the captain would continue his story, but when he realized Azam was in no mood for further transparency, and Delmar looked pensive as well, he cleared his throat and chanced a question. Captain Azam, does Lieutenant... Chapter 25. Trouble. Tafara darted up the stairs, 2 at a time, until she reached the top. Good, Tafara exhaled. The banners were still low and the torches lit. The elders have not assembled yet. From this view, she could see the entire City of Seth. Thousands of dome-shaped dwellings, carved from the hillside, peered through the cliffs along the winding pathways. Every elder's home held a bright banner swaying in the slumbering sky. When the council met to settle disputes, each elder would take his clan's banner to tell the scout passing by, "Have you seen Methuselah?" "Greetings, Medici Tafara. May the ancient..." "To you as well," Tafara said, tapping her foot. "Where's Methuselah?" "He said he was going to Father Seth's abode. If it pleases you, I would be more than happy to..." "There's no time for that," Tafara said, already heading toward her father's house. "Just find another scout and stand guard at the entrance to the High Council. The bearer is there and he does not want to be disturbed." "The bearer returned? Is he speaking with that Elohim?" "Just do it," Tafara ordered, "and stop running your mouth. If the bearer wanted you to know his business, he'd tell you." Tafara rushed up the spiraling path toward her father's abode. The only structure higher was the seat of council and Adam's former home, which was being prepared for Enoch. Everyone was surprised when Mother Eve announced she wanted to dwell with the Medici after Adam's death. It is too, her eldest daughter, so it remained empty till now. Tafara charged in, pushing through the heavy veils, and plowed right into Methuselah, almost knocking him over. "Pardon," Tafara said, breathing heavily. Methuselah righted himself and laughed. "We were just speaking of you." "No need to rush, my dear," Father Seth said. "The others will be arriving soon." "Enoch is back," she blurted out. "When?" "Just now. He called off the gathering of the High Council," Tafara said, still panting. "He sent me to tell you and the elders." "Slow down, Tafara," Father Seth said. "We must..." "And stop interrupting, Tafara. Look, you may be a Medici, but you will still show reverence to your elders." Tafara looked down. "Yes, Father, many pardons." "Now tell us about Enoch," he said, taking a seat on one of the cushions. "When did he return?" "Father, we must tell the others not to go to the seat of High Council. Enoch wants to talk to the Elohim." Enoch wants to talk to the Elohim alone. He said we are not to. Fine, fine, Father Seth said. Methuselah, tell the others as quick as you can. Tell the others what? Dinah said as she brushed past Methuselah into Father Seth's private room. Father Seth called after him, Make haste, we don't want the bearer to be disturbed. Back, Dinah said, dropping the tray of food. Alati cakes and blackberries spilled onto the floor. When? Where is he? Careful, Dinah, Father Seth said. I know you will want to greet him. Tafara here just told me. Oh, Tafara told you, I see. So the bearer is not to be disturbed, is he? That is a fine thing. So he cannot even meet his own wife first. We'll just see about that. Dinah stormed out the door. Medici, Dinah, please. Tafara called after her. It was not like that. Tafara let her go. She will settle down soon enough. She's just frustrated. All the Medici are on edge. All Medici, Father? Tafara said, picking up the scattered berries and cakes and dumping them into a basket. Father Seth grinned. Of course I should have said most Medici, my dear. You are as light as a gazelle leaping through the plains of Edenia and about as hard to tame as well. Tafara laughed. It is good you do not try too hard, Father. But I fear you are right. The Medici are anxious. The Auru is not as powerful as it should be. I mean, we are preparing it and distributing it as fast as we can, but these last batches do not cure as they did before Zohar. That was most unfortunate, Father Seth agreed. They only ease the symptoms, Father Seth agreed. They only ease the symptoms. We have been working non-stop to prepare as much as we can before. Go on. Father, I fear the Auru is losing its power altogether. No one will say it, but it is as plain as the rising sun. I told the Medici so. Dinah's not too fond of me, Carter, improve our storage methods. But I refused to pound another leaf and went into the wild lands instead. Tafara, Father Seth raised his voice, when you became a Medici, you took an oath. Yes, Father, an oath to heal, not an oath to foolishness, and I told Medici Dinah just that. We are wasting time we do not have. You speak of Mother Eve? Tafara avoided his eyes. Sorry, Father, it is getting worse. She did have the first batch and improved greatly for a time. I went out today searching for more forerunners. With them we can cover more territory, find other useful plants, and if the ancient favors us, maybe even a new source of Auru. Perhaps you could have spoken more gently to Medici Dinah, daughter, and going into the wild lands alone was foolish. You know the rebel beasts full of bloodlust roam there. I cannot believe you. Father Seth stopped chiding when he saw his daughter's downcast look and sighed. Then the storeroom is fading fast. Father Seth grasped his long black braid, now streaked again with silver. We cannot hide what is plain much longer, Father. The Auru is not working. The heavy drapes covering the entryway fluttered, startling Tafara. A strange woman wearing the robes of a Medici entered the room, followed by Methuselah, carrying a young girl. By the ancient's grace, please tell me my ears deceive me. The Auru must work. We have come too far. The woman broke into tears and collapsed by the fire. We have guests, Methuselah said, placing the young girl on a blanket near her mother. Father Seth frowned. Why have you brought these daughters of Cain here? Father, this is Medici Yabasheth and her daughter, Shalal. Tafara rushed over to Medici Yabasheth, who was now sobbing uncontrollably. Medici Yabasheth came to the seat of council demanding to see the bearer. I told her he could not be disturbed, but the girl looks like she really needs help, Methuselah said. So I brought them here. I was not sure one of our Medici would see her without the bearer's permission, but since Tafara does as she pleases, I thought Tafara will do exactly as instructed. Father Seth gave his daughter a warning eye. Let this woman seek Father Lamech. Do they not have the great Benai Elohim, some Jaza to heal them? The girl screamed. Father Seth, startled by the brutish sound, dropped his staff and stared deep into the girl's eyes for the first time and scowled. She doesn't even look like a daughter of Eve. Did you see? Father, this is no time for grudges. She placed a hand on the girl's forehead. She's barely more than a childling, and she's burning up with the sickness. Tafara grabbed the woman's shoulders firmly, forcing the woman to look her in the eyes. Medici Yabasheth, you must be strong. The woman stopped crying, but tears still welled. You must be strong. The woman stopped crying, but tears still welled up in her eyes. Tafara relaxed her grip. Please, tell us what happened. Good, just in time. Anami walked past Methuselah and stood behind Tafara. She is right to be concerned. That girl looks horrible. Reddish splotches dotted her arms and legs as she tossed and turned, scratching the hives repeatedly. He put his hand on the girl's forehead and began to hum. Poor little one. Why was Azam hesitant? I was right again. Tafara is in the middle of the action. Please, be at ease. You can trust us. Please, be at ease. You can trust us. Tell us what happened, Tafara said. Methuselah, bring me my kettle. The woman caught the aroma laced with the hint of Alru and smiled gratefully as Methuselah placed the large pot next to Tafara. Tafara dipped a small bowl into the kettle and held it to the girl's lips. See if you can get her to drink. Nodded. Shalal fell into a patch of wild platonic while running. And that is all. Yabasheth fidgeted and kept her eyes on the door as she fed broth to her daughter. That is all. Medici Yabasheth, wild platonic may explain the skin sickness, but your daughter looks as if she fell off a cliff and then some. Tafara snatched the bowl out of the woman's hands. Lies will not gain you the favor of the Ancient One, nor our help. If you expect us to... Please, we brought the sacrifice required. I left it outside. Ask him, Yabasheth said, pointing toward Methuselah. He helped us carry it. Please, we need... Medici Yabasheth, Tafara said softly. We will not be able to help your daughter properly without the truth. Yabasheth rocked back and forth, her eyes darting from Tafara and the door. Are you afraid to tell us? Did someone follow you? It's Father Lamech, isn't it? Someone needs to show that impious old... It's not, isn't it? Someone needs to show that impious old... It's not Father Lamech. Yabasheth looked down and folded her hands into her lap. You must promise not to tell anyone. If he finds out, not a soul here will break your confidence, Tafara promised. It is my husband. He did this. The woman buried her face in her hands. She's a girl, and you see, it is not his fault. I am no longer what I was, and she is very beautiful. What are you saying? Tafara grabbed the woman's arm. He lies with her in the way of a wife, the woman said quickly, looking down at her lap. She was wringing her hands now. Tafara gave the woman the bowl. Why didn't you? And the bowl. Why didn't you? Methuselah opened his mouth and then shut it tight when he saw Tafara shaking her head. Then, when my Zohar went mad in the wilds searching for Alru, it pushed him over the edge. He took his anger out on me, on Shalal. Zohar is your son? The color drained from Tafara's face. Father Seth gripped his staff so tight his knuckles grew white. Methuselah, go fetch the bearer. But father, he does not. Methuselah stopped when he saw the look on the elder's face. Yes, father, right away. Methuselah did a quick bow and dashed out of the room. Father Seth extended his right arm and held his hand over the girl. His voice was barely a whisper, but Tafara recognized the words. He was praying. The woman nodded and began feeding the girl the broth again. Shalal twisted and mumbled as her mother forced the liquid into her mouth. I tried to please him, but he does not want me. Everything was fine. We were fine until the harvest celebration, until the shadows came. That's when my husband changed, so I sent Zohar to get Alru. Tafara put her arm around the woman's shoulder. Father Seth prayed louder. It helped a bit, but then the eve of the ceremony of union, he was worse, much worse. Who was to be married that eve? Tafara said. Why, Naima, of course, to Captain Samjaza. We were all enjoying the celebration. Anami tuned the woman out and focused on the girl, Shalal, as he felt the rush of energy surge through him. Waves of iridescent light poured from his core and out of his back, flaring like wings behind him. Poor, poor girl. He began to sing. He touched her forehead. But after that night, after so many of our daughters were wed in that manner, it was awful. It was like the Elohim were different. They no longer shined with the light. Even our men, it is like they are, well, their minds have bent. That is when my husband began going after Shalal. I tried to stop him. I did. But he bruised me for it. And Shalal, she just cried and cried. The last time she tried to fight him, he beat her and said he would give her to Samjaza if she did not submit. I heard him, and before Son's birth we slipped away and ran. We ran as fast as we could, but Shalal fell, and And now you are here. And now you are here, Tafara said. You are safe with us, and Shalal will mend. The Auru is aiding her. The girl lay quietly now, sleeping peacefully. Tafara took the woman's hand and gave it a squeeze. You have been through much. I know this must be painful for you to speak of. But what did you mean when you said your husband was going to give Shalal to Shamjaza? That is not possible if he's already wed to Naima. Oh, Medici Tafara, Yabasheth said, wringing her hands. I have not told you the worst of it. The Elohim do not honor our ways. Shamjaza has taken several wives. Now that Naima is with child, he tires of her. But, she began sobbing again, since my Shalal is ruined, she would not be a wife. She would just be a Nuta to be used for his pleasure without any honor. Does anyone else know? Tafara said. I don't know. I tried to conceal it. I am so ashamed. That is why I don't know what to do. My husband we cannot go back, please. The woman looked at Father Seth with desperate eyes. Her bruised face made the appeal. Your husband must stand before the High Council. Father Seth was resolute. He has broken the way of the Ancient One. He will be judged and... Who are you to judge? You're no better than us. A burly figure plowed through the entrance and tumbled over Tafara's pot, his speech slurred. Give me my wife. The man rushed toward Medici Yabasheth with bulging eyes and clenched fists. Rufus! Yabasheth slid backwards, clutching the hem of Father Seth's robe. I tried to stop him. Methuselah rushed in, followed by Enoch and 2 scouts. Leave the woman alone. Enoch pushed his way around Rufus, blocking the man from striking his wife, still cowering on the floor. Restrain him. Anami nodded to Azam as he followed Enoch into the room. You have no right to keep my wife and my daughter from me. Rufus squirmed to free himself from the scouts. Since you claim to be the bearer, you ought to know the Ancient gives me authority over my wife and my child. An abomination. Father Seth pointed his finger in the intruder's face. Your wife told us of your treachery. Do not think... Yabasheth, you fool of a woman, I'll pound the lies out of your ignorant tongue. He lunged toward her, almost catching the side of her face with his fist as he swerved out of the men's grip. That'll teach you to go a whoring after Alru. Suddenly the man stopped. I can't move, the man gasped, struggling to speak. You're doing this. Rufus scowled at Enoch, who still glowed with the light of the beloved. Release me! Access to the One Mind, but your power is from the serpent! I will destroy this one. Azam held a dagger to the man's neck with one arm, as the other captured him in a chokehold. I am Azam. I will rid the beloved of this nuisance. Azam! Anami grabbed the captain's arm. Remember you said we must not exceed our... Anami grabbed the captain's arm. Remember you said we must not exceed our bounds. He is detestable. We know of his doings. Yamazrek recorded everything. He will die now, Azam said. Yes, he will, one day, but do you have orders? Anami said. I can handle this, Enoch said loudly, glaring at Azam. My authority is of the Ancient Father. The elders will hear your grievance by Sun's Peak. Methuselah, take this man to the seat of council. Azam sighed, pushed the man forward, and replaced his dagger in one motion. Methuselah and the scouts grabbed Rufus as he stumbled, this time binding his hands behind his back with a thick rope. I was told you brought the sacrifice, Enoch said, addressing the woman. Yes, Medici Yabasheth began. You can't do this! Rufus bellowed as they forced him toward the door. Only a father can offer the sacrifice for his household, and I refuse to. A father will forget. As bearer I stand in Adam's stead. Take him away. The scouts struggled with Rufus, who kicked and yelled, disrupting the calm twilight as they dragged him along. A few women poked their heads out of their windows to see the cause. You'll pay dearly for this. You just wait. The elders of Cain will see to it. We are not subject to you. If you try to keep my family, you will pay with your blood. You killed my son. Now you would steal my wife and daughter too. You sons of Seth think you are hidden father's chosen, but you are weak. Soon you will see it. You will. We didn't kill son. Enoch's voice rose over the man's ranting. You speak lies. Our tribe doesn't murder. Zohar is dead, the man wailed. Silence, the scouts warned, as they hoisted Rothfuss over their shoulders like a log. Clear the way. Medici was running full speed up the path toward Enoch and barely missed colliding into the prisoner. Slow down, woman, Enoch said, pulling her away from the ruckus and into his arms. At least you are glad to... Enoch, Medici panted. Come quick, the storehouse. She wriggled out of his embrace and pulled him with all her might. The store... This concludes chapters 22 through 25 of Taken, a metaphysical fantasy novel. If you enjoyed this excerpt, please check out the next chapters of Taken on this YouTube channel. Remember, eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him. Please share this uplifting read with your friends and get ready to soar. Thank you again for listening, and may the favor of the Ancient One be on you.